of Commerce. And once again, we are privileged to appear here with the League of Women Voters in the candidate forum, and tonight for District 1 of Hennepin County Board of Commissioners. We're delighted to have this opportunity, and we hope you enjoy it. And our moderator for this evening is Kirsten Schulme.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, I would like to welcome you to the Candidates Forum this evening. We're pleased to give you, the voters, this opportunity to get to know the men and women vying for your vote. Our number one goal is the community engagement of informed voters. We are so thankful that you've joined us. The League of Women Voters is an organization that is nonpartisan and volunteer-based. It is organized at the local, state, and national level to encourage citizens to participate in government. While LWV members do study and take stands on issues, we do not endorse nor support political parties nor candidates. The LWV does encourage its members as individuals, as we encourage each of you, to get involved in your community and the political party of your choice. However, the views expressed in this forum are those of the individual candidates and not those of the League of Women Voters. Again, by sponsoring this forum this evening, the League provides an opportunity for citizen participation and exposure to the candidates, but does not provide an endorsement. Both candidates that are running were invited, and they are here tonight. Again, we are listening to our candidates for Hennepin County Commissioner, District 1. In tonight's forum, the candidates will start their opening statement, in which they're going to have 2 minutes to prepare. And then they will have the 1-minute questions that they got in advance to prepare for this evening. Then our candidates will have up to 30 seconds to respond to each of the questions that are coming from the audience. Finally, they will be given 1 minute for their final statements. Candidates, the League would like to request you refrain from making any personal attacks on your fellow candidates. I'd like to take out this moment to point out my timekeeper this evening. She will show you when you have 15 seconds to finish your statements, and then she will show you when your time has expired. Please finish your sentence at that time, as I will be directing the next speaker's turn. Our ushers are handing out cards and pens as needed for your questions. Please raise your hand to receive a card or to have the usher collect your questions so that I can ask them to the candidates. Please follow the guidelines as set up by our partnership. The questions may not be a personal attack on any candidate. Questions may not have already been asked. Similar questions may be combined. And please write legibly so that your concerns may be addressed this evening. For the audience, please remember to turn off or silence all communication devices at this time. And the co-sponsors have all agreed that no unauthorized photography will take place during the forum, as it is distracting to the candidates. Remember, Channel 12 is broadcasting and rebroadcasting tonight's forum, and copies are available upon request from Channel 12. So our candidates this evening are Mary O'Connor and Mike Opat. Our first question is, please tell us about your background and previous civic involvement that support your candidacy for this position. Our first speaker is Mary O'Connor.
Thank you very much to the League of Women Voters and the North Hennepin Area Chamber of Commerce for having this forum. I grew up in the Twin Cities area and have lived in Brooklyn Center for 18 years. I worked 38 years for the University of Minnesota. I earned a Certificate of Information Systems Analysis and Design from the university. I served on the Brooklyn Center City Council for 4 years. I am a member of the Brooklyn Center Charter Commission. I volunteer in Brooklyn Center schools. I have been concerned about large government for many years, large intrusive government for many years. I've joined the Libertarian Party because they believe in small government and liberty for all, and they believe that we should each handle our own affairs and problems and not expect government to take care of us, or we don't want government intruding in our lives. So that is what I've been working on, and I've run for many offices, and I am now running for Hennepin County Commissioner.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Opat.
Thank you, and I too would like to thank the League of Women Voters in the North Hennepin Area Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity. My name is Mike Opat. I'm currently the Hennepin County Commissioner for District 1. And once again, for folks watching, District 1 includes all of the cities of Robbinsdale, Crystal, New Hope, Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, and Osseo. Sometimes there's confusion about just what cities comprise which district. My background to hold this job or be reelected are that I have been the Hennepin County Commissioner for District 1. Most of these cities, the boundaries have changed a little bit over time. Since 1992, I was elected in 92. I have a Bachelor of degree in Business Administration from the University of Minnesota and a Master's degree from Harvard University in Public Policy. I have lived in the district all my life, with the exception of the 2 years I was in graduate school. I currently live in Robbinsdale. I have 3 children who attend the Robbinsdale Public Schools. I've been involved in civic activities mostly regarding athletics and coaching. I've coached with the Armstrong Cooper Youth Baseball Association, Robbinsdale Little League, Armstrong Traveling Basketball Association, and then some of the other rec leagues in Crystal and Robbinsdale. I think my background lends itself to this job for another term because I know this district, I know the cities, I'm in contact with all of the mayors and city council members. My family, the rest of my siblings live in Brooklyn Park up here. My dad lives in Brooklyn Park. So I've always been somebody wired to North Minneapolis and the inner ring suburbs. I think there are many needs we have up in the suburbs for infrastructure investment. I've been working on that for a number of years now. Beginning with the reconstruction of Highway 100 back in the mid-90s. That was really the first big project to be able to get rid of the 5 lights, for those of you who remember that were there, and we worked hard to do that, and we did that. I think Highway 252 is the next one we should be focused on, and I'm looking forward to working on that in the next term. Thank you.
Thank you. What do you see as the county's essential services? In your opinion, what are the county's top priorities? First responder is Mr. Opat.
Thank you. Well, the counties in Minnesota, all counties are creatures of the state government, so we can do what the state allows us to do or assigns us to do. So most of the things that we are assigned to do that are most important would be delivery of human services. The county or the state suggests what we need to do: child protection, economic assistance, making sure people are eligible for the need or the assistance they get. Public safety, we fund the sheriff's department. We also do probation. Minnesota is a state that uses a lot of probation. We have 30,000 folks on probation in some level, either a higher intensive supervision or a more or less on paper supervision. Transportation, we do the county roads and bridges. So those are essential services. Obviously up here we've been feeling the pinch of that as County Road 81's been redone. And then libraries. And libraries are really one of the fun things we get to do. And opening the new Brooklyn Park Library just this past June was really a thrill and is a signature project for the city.
Ms. O'Connor?
The essential services of Hennepin County are roads and bridges, public safety, courts, social services, and libraries.
Okay. Minnesota's transportation infrastructure is in dire need of funding for repairs and new roads. How would you propose funding road and bridge repairs and new road construction projects over the next 10 years? Ms. O'Connor.
County roads and bridges should be funded from property taxes. We should repair roads and bridges as they need it. Now, Mr. Opat talked about Highway 100 and Highway 152. Now, those, maybe to my knowledge, are state highways. So I'm not sure just why the county is getting involved in those roads. But the other point I would like to make is that closing Irving Avenue North to cars for bikers and walkers is a bad idea. Those who live there have a right to park by their homes.
Mr. Opat?
Well, first off, the reason the county got involved, and I got the county involved in Highway 100, was because it wasn't getting done. And many county roads cross Highway 100, and if you remember, there were at-grade signals crossings there, and people would stack up in traffic. There were many collisions that happened there, and the air quality readings were amongst the worst in the entire metro area. So that's why we got involved. Part of what I see the job of county commissioners doing is working with the municipal levels of government and advocating at the state level of government. So if there's something that's not working that the state is assigned to do, then we should speak up about that, and that's why I would get involved in Highway 252. In terms of funding roads and bridges, I don't think the property tax should be the primary funding. I think it should be the gas tax. Cars use roads, and the gas tax should be the one that primarily pays for the roads. There will always be some property taxes that is part of the mix, and we should continue to watch that and invest more if we think there needs to be more. But we shouldn't raise our hand and say, hey, guess what? We'll do this with property tax first for roads. It's a last resort in whatever mode of transportation, but sometimes it might be necessary.
Thank you. What strategies do you advocate for the county to support job growth? First responder is Ms. O'Connor.
The best way to encourage job growth is to reduce taxes and reduce regulations, but no more corporate welfare such as stadiums or Humboldt Greenway. Along Humboldt Avenue North, people's affordable homes were taken and torn down to build expensive homes. Hennepin County did this to get more tax revenue. I will fight this citizen abuse.
Mr. Opat?
Well, I think in terms of job growth, it's really the county it's not a duty assigned directly to the county. So I think what the county can do is be a good partner to cities. Companies that are looking to relocate or grow will typically contact their city, their economic development authority in a particular city, or they might approach the state, or they might approach a partnership like the greater MSP group. That's an economic development group that's formed by the bigger corporations and units of government in the metro area. So I think our job is really to listen, to always be in contact with those entities, and if they need some help, like maybe they need a road reconfigured, signal light to allow trucks to get in and out of a business. Hy-Vee is a good example of that in New Hope. There's another discussion of what might happen at the old terrace site in Robbinsdale. We have to be ready to respond to that, and in a timely fashion so businesses can make their decisions.
Next question. Do you support the light rail projects being proposed, i.e. Botno and Southwest? Why or why not? First responder is Mr. Opat.
I absolutely support the Botno light rail line. I've worked on it for years. One part of being in the northwest suburbs is that we don't have great transit up here. We have Plymouth as an opt-out community. They have their own bus system. We have Maple Grove as an opt-out. They have their own bus system. So for many of the Metro Transit lines, we're at the end of the road here and or the end of the line here. And the transit isn't always safe, it isn't always quick, it isn't always efficient, and it's not always as clean as it could be. I think the LRT project will provide all of that. And I just would ask folks to think about the great promise of being able to get on the Botno line, take a one-seat ride to the airport and go anywhere in the world or anywhere in the region. So we will be connected to the rest of the region when we build the Botno LRT line. The other thing is for the entering suburbs, the development of businesses, residential units, and all the possibilities that have happened in other markets like St. Louis Park or downtown Minneapolis can then happen up here. So I think I'm greatly supportive of it, and I hope we can get it built as soon as possible.
Ms. O'Connor?
I do not support light rail. It's very expensive, it causes congestion, it's unnecessary, it adds to pollution, and it's deadly.
Okay, we're moving on to our questions from the audience in which you have 30 seconds to respond. First one is, domestic violence is an issue in District 1 as it is elsewhere. Would you support a shelter for our district such as Cornerstone Center that is in Bloomington? Why or why not? First responder is Mr. Opat.
Well, certainly domestic abuse is a problem in all the districts, and it's a problem in District 1. In my time on the board, we I authored actually the Domestic Abuse Service Center, which is in the basement of the governor, or the basement of the government center. County Attorney Freeman, it works through his shop, and that's of great assistance. I would have to know more about what Cornerstone's demand is before I would suggest that we need another facility. I just don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay, Ms. O'Connor?
Well, I believe that domestic abuse is something that people have to take care of on their own. They have to take care of their problems. I think we do have some shelters and some places for them to go. I don't like government to interfere too much with people's lives. I think they can handle it on their own, and I don't like to see people, especially children, taken away from their homes when government doesn't do as good a job.
Okay, our next question. How can the Hennepin County Sheriff improve community relationships? First responder will be Ms. O'Connor.
I don't think the sheriff should have that duty to do. Community relationships, I think they're handled by people to each other, and I guess I don't think that the sheriff should get involved with that.
Mr. Opat?
Well, I think that's an interesting question. In Hennepin County, there are so many municipal police departments that are closer to the cities that it really doesn't fall to the sheriff to be the first line there. But there are instances where the sheriff can be of assistance. The unused prescription drug collection process is something where the sheriff has been involved. I think that's been great. Making sure that all the city police departments understand the crime lab services that are available, and other little nuanced services, some high-level investigations that they can provide assistance to the smaller departments is another way. But general delivery of communications is really best left to the city police departments.
Thank you. Name 2 significant accomplishments that you have and feel best reflects who you are and what you have already done in Hennepin County. First responder is Mr. Opat.
Well, I think the 2 big accomplishments I would point to would be the Brooklyn Park Library would certainly be one. That one was, there was no library in the capital plan for Hennepin County when we formed the Brooklyn Park Library Task Force. It's been about 10 years. So it's such a big library that it took a long time to plan and execute, and we did a nice job executing that. And I'd go back to Highway 100 just because that was part of the daily lives of all of us being stopped there or crashing there or whatever, and getting the state to make that investment. I still feel good about every time I drive it.
Ms. O'Connor?
I was on the Brooklyn Center City Council for 4 years and involved in city affairs. I've lived in Brooklyn Center and then before that in North Minneapolis for probably 28 years. So I've lived in the area, but I volunteer at Earl Brown School, and I have volunteered and will continue at Evergreen School, both in Brooklyn Center. Just being knowledgeable and being concerned about what goes on in my neighborhood is my main involvement.
Thank you. What do you see as the greatest challenge for Hennepin County in regards to MNsure? First responder is Mr. Opat.
Well, all of the public health insurance plans in Minnesota we should get them more than a minute on this one. I'll just say because it is so complicated between MNsure, Medicaid expansion, the exchange, all of those things that. To be honest with you, the county doesn't get hugely involved in MNsure. Where we have been involved in is prepaid medical assistance program for Medicaid. So more of the managed care as applied to Medicaid. Started with adults and now it's gone to families. I think for all of these, the biggest challenge is going to be how do you control costs? How do you get people to take care of themselves? How do you get people to do preventive health care before they get sick with a type 2 diabetes or other kind of chronic health problem that lands them in the hospital or reduces their quality of life for the rest of their life?
Ms. O'Connor?
I guess we could start by lobbying our Congress people to end the Affordable Care Act. I would call it the Unaffordable Care Act, because it's caused health care costs to go way up. So it's done no good. If we got government out of health care, mostly out of health care, if we got insurance companies mostly out of health care, because all we need them for is hospitalization. And if we went back to going to our doctors and our doctors competing with each other to lower the price, I think the price would definitely come down and we'd have much cheaper health care and we could take care of our own health.
What is the role of the county commissioners and how does it interact with other county municipalities? First responder is Ms. O'Connor.
And by county municipalities, you mean cities in the county?
Yeah, we do need a clarification on that.
It says county municipalities. I don't know who wrote the
Generally,
question.
I would say county should not get involved in city. City takes care of itself.
Other
County
cities?
takes care of its issues. So I don't really think we should get involved with cities and what they do. They have their job, we have ours, we should keep them separate. That is much less expensive.
Okay, Mr. Opat?
Well, I don't agree with that. I think the Hennepin County needs to be aware of what's on the city's agenda. Some issues cross borders. So for instance, the issue of group homes for folks who are developmentally disabled, for instance. The cities may want to zone them or do certain things. The counties may have custody of the clients and perhaps oversee contracts with the providers. So we always need to be in communication with each other. Roads is another one where there's a particular maybe intersection that the city thinks needs to happen and the county might think otherwise. We need to talk about it and work together and arrive at a solution.
Okay. What do you consider to be the priority transportation projects for the county? Can you be specific and name them? First responder is Ms. O'Connor.
No, I think as long as we keep our county roads and bridges in good shape, that is our job. And I'm sure we had potholes this spring, but that was on all our roads. I guess I can't think of any particular road project that we should be working on right now.
Okay, Mr. Opat?
Well, I think that the top ones for me would be, off the top of my head, would be, I know Brooklyn Boulevard from the Minneapolis border to Bass Lake Road is a priority for the city of Brooklyn Center, and I think we should work with them. It's a county road, yet I don't think the county did necessarily a great job of keeping an eye on what Brooklyn Center needed. So I think we should have done a better job listening and maybe led that project, but we'll lead it now. I think Rockford Road from Robbinsdale through Crystal is a pretty ugly-looking road, and we need to improve that. And I do think the county should get involved in Highway 252 and demand that the state remove the lights and make it safer.
Thank you. How does the county set its priorities? Are there changes in how the commission works that you would suggest? First responder is Mr. Opat.
Yeah, I mean, the county said the county administration really operates the programs, and they will bring to the county board policy decisions that they need made. The county will also look into legislative activities that we want to get into and advocate for at the legislature for change in state law. That's really how we do our work.
Ms. O'Connor?
Mr. Opat, did you say that your staff brings issues to your attention and then you act on them? If that's the case, I don't think it should go that way. It shouldn't go from the staff to the commissioners. The commissioners are elected. They should decide what needs to be worked on and what needs to be done. And it can be really limited, or it can be a lot less than it's being done right now.
Okay. Would you support the, trying to read this correctly, would you support the Three Rivers Park District being more active in the support of diversity? Why or why not? Ms. O'Connor?
I believe that the parks are there for everybody's use, and I think people are using the parks. I don't think we have to push for more diversity in the parks.
Mr. Opat?
I think Three Rivers needs to be more active in advertising and recruiting people to use their parks for everybody that's in the entering suburbs. I mean, the issue for me with the Three Rivers Parks is they're mostly remote. Their French Park is 6 miles from my house in Robbinsdale, yet all of Robbinsdale, Crystal, New Hope pay taxes to Three Rivers. So I think sure, diversity of income, diversity of zip code, diversity of race, diversity of gender, whatever, they should make their parks accessible and do a better job. And I think they have been doing a better job of it. I think the superintendent got that message and is doing a better job.
Thank you. And unless we have any more, this is our last 30-second question. Other than light rail, what other major projects could the county invest in to attract private investment? First responder is Ms. O'Connor.
Nothing. It's not the county's job, and the businesses would do much better if the county would lower their property taxes and reduce regulations. Then they'd come in on their own and set up their businesses.
Can I have the rest of her time? I mean, I just don't agree with that at all. I think the biggest, easiest way for us is to invest and make easy the investment and redevelopment of property, jobs, residential, around the light rail line. So we're going to put this artery of great transit, safe transit, fast transit in a barely used freight corridor. So we should take advantage of every stop and build around it vibrant, exciting communities, because we have one chance to do this. So these next 4 years are going to be huge, and we either take advantage of it or we crawl into the basement and forget it ever happened. And that's where we are remarkably different in that area. And I look forward to a future of great promise, not one where you bunker down and pretend and let the world pass you by.
Okay. I will give you up to 2 minutes for your closing statements. In summary, how do you best intend to serve your district and move the county forward? So we'll go in the reverse order. So we'll have Mr. Opat.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. I think the rail project is obviously the one on most people's minds, and I think the county can assist the cities to develop great places and great spaces around each and every stop. There are 11, I think, total, a couple in Golden Valley, so there's 9 or whatever up in our part of the world. So I'm really looking forward to that. I do think we need to improve our delivery of transportation. I think the county road engineers have had a little bit too much say in it. They're a little mad at me right now because I'm suggesting to them that as utility companies come around and want to replace their infrastructure and close lanes, that we need to be a little bit more forceful, that they're working faster and that they're getting traffic moving more quickly. I think we have issues around housing for people, for the truly vulnerable and special populations, where we need to work with cities and make sure we find places for people to live, either temporarily or permanently, that are safe and clean and affordable. So there's a lot of things that I want to work on with the cities and keep going. And of course, always the standard baseline fundamental thing for me, or a fundamental thing for me, is that we take care of the truly vulnerable and those who are truly disabled, and that we provide a great library system. I don't think we should ever back off a great library system. Not a good one, a great one. So I'm proud of the one we have now. It's going to change. It'll be less books and more internet capacity for folks who don't have that. It will make for gathering places and meeting room availability, where maybe it used to be a place where you want to only read a book. But we should always continue to adapt and look at that and adjust it so it's great. Again, not just good, but great. And then as opportunities present themselves, whether it be assistant with the parks, partnerships with the cities, we should just seize them and look to do them as affordably and as efficiently as we can. It's always better when there are more shoulders to the wheel.
Thank you. And Ms. O'Connor.
I will work to reduce excessive county government. Then we can cut property taxes. This will help citizens and businesses. We can give county commissioners part-time jobs and reduce their salaries.
Thank you once again on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Brooklyn Park, Osseo, and Maple Grove, and North Hennepin Area Chamber of Commerce. I would like to thank the candidates for agreeing to participate in tonight's forum. I would also like to thank the voters for attending and participating by submitting excellent questions, and I would like to thank the viewing audience as well. Remember, if we couldn't get to your questions tonight, or you have further questions for the candidates, we invite you to contact them directly with your concerns. Remember, you can vote early in Minnesota, so register to vote with the Secretary of State or with your local League of Women Voters. Remember to get out and get that done by Tuesday, November 8th, as your vote truly counts. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
This is